Ta-da! I think we're live now. Cheers, love.
Cheers.
This episode of Beyond the Breakthrough is sponsored by Coca-Cola, the great drink of Christmas. I wish. So welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Breakthrough, the kind of live call-in chat show for psychonauts. This time I'm joined by the lovely Rachel, who I happen to be married to and love very much. And she's a little bit hungover because she had a bit of a heavy night last night. We'll get into that maybe a bit later on. But you see, because there's two of us, the camera was having problems tracking the two people and getting rid of the background. So you can see, instead of my usual psychedelic camper van background, you're just going to have to make do with the kitchen. This is it. So it looks a little bit less glamorous, but it's even more glamorous because you're here. So I think everything balances out in a good way. Just before I get started and get talking to some people, I can see I've got some hands raised already. So I'll just run through a couple of bits of housekeeping. Firstly, just on that, if anyone joins the stream and you want to call into the stream and be a guest speaker, the way that you do that is that you join our Discord server. So as well as the live stream going out on YouTube, there is a stage room on the Adeptus Psychonautica Discord server. I'll show you what that looks like. So basically, if you join our Discord server, you'll see this one in the top left corner called Stream Calling. If you join that channel, then you've got the option there to be able to raise your hand. You press the button to raise your hand, and then I'll click a button, you come up on stage, and then you can talk with me and Rachel and the audience out on YouTube, and we can talk about anything you want relating to psychedelics, consciousness, plant medicines, all that kind of stuff. Anything sort of trippy stories or insights, things you want to share, just things you want to have a chat about. Do make sure it's something that we can have a conversation about. It's not just a place for you to have a sort of a rant about things. So if you've got something you want to ask, something you want to converse around, it's not really, it's not a platform just for you to preach, but any questions, personal experiences, insights are all very welcome. If you do come up and talk, then please be mindful of how much time it takes, because basically, we want to make sure that everyone who wants to talk gets a chance to talk. So just be mindful of the amount of time it's taking. If I have to sort of close the conversation down, it's not that I'm not interested in what you're saying. It's just I'm trying to make room so that everyone gets a chance to have their say. So hopefully we'll get around as many people as possible. In terms of the conversation, I say pretty much anything goes as long as it's related to psychedelics. Disagreements are completely welcome. If you've seen one of my videos and there's something you want to question me about it, or something you didn't agree with and you want to put your own perspective, that's absolutely fine. As long as we have like a good, faith, friendly, rational conversation, then it's entirely fine. If you want to anyone who wants just rant and swear and be a dick, then they'll just get kicked off. So. But we've not had to do that so far, so
sounds reasonable.
I think it sounds jolly reasonable, doesn't it? Just a couple of other things before I get stuck into it. I'm just going to say this is the second to last one of these kind of shows I'm going to do before the end of the year. We're heading back to the UK over Christmas, so there's going to be like a break over Christmas where I'm not making any new content. So we're going to do this one. I'll do one before Christmas, and then we'll have a sort of a break, and we'll start again in the new year. I do just want to do a bit of a shameless plug for this fine piece of Adeptus Psychonautica merchandise that I'm wearing. If you like the look of this rather awesome
it's on the back of
hoodie,
it.
it's got the logo on the back. Can you see it? Then if you like the look of this, then head over to the merch store. There's links in the Discord server. There's also in the channel banner, and you can get yourself this nice top, keep you warm in the winter. Right, I think that's all the housekeeping stuff out the way. I always like to start off these things with just a little bit of what I've been up to, or what we've been up to in this case. Because, one thing that we've been up to, which is a bit of a kind of an experiment in progress, is that we've been doing like DMT daily for about the last 10 days or something now. And we're just kind of doing this as a bit of a curiosity, a bit of an experiment in consciousness. We're not doing sort of huge macro doses every day. We're kind of varying it between sort of what I would call like say a micro dose and a medium dose. But so I think nothing more than, I don't think I've done more than like 20 milligrams.
Yeah, nothing that would break you through.
No, well, nothing that would break me through, but something that would break you through. Because
Yeah.
you break through, like...
A couple of times I've accidentally done it.
It's like, oopsie. Oopsie, crystal temples. My bad.
Yeah.
But it's been really interesting to do it on a sort of a daily basis. And there's some questions that came up saying like, well, what's the point? It only lasts like 5 minutes. And the point that what I found interesting about it is that like, so once a day you get this completely different shift in perspective and sort of understanding of how your brain works and understanding of how like the model of reality that you are operating in normally. And just by having these little sort of like 5 minute like micro sort of, well, it's not micro dose, but like sub breakthrough step away from that. It's been really interesting. Because normally when I do DMT, I'm always going straight for that breakthrough. So I'm kind of normal world, complete hyperspace, not much in between. And what I'm doing here is really kind of lingering in that sort of space before it and just getting to experience like that transition. Like I noticed the other day when I was doing it, I could hear my thoughts speed up. Like, and I recognize this from when I go into sort of the DMT experience, because you get this thing where it does all start speeding up in your head to the point where it hits this breakthrough point that goes, and it was, and I could hear that, but it was going, so it's like, like the sound of the voice in my head, like the sound of my thoughts in my head was like speeding up. I was like, oh yeah, it does do that. That's cool. So that's something we're kind of experimenting with, and we're probably just going to do that. Or at least I'm going to do it probably up until Christmas, and just do like a month of playing around with consciousness like that, and I'll probably make a video about it and let you know how that went on. So that's what we've been up to.
Yeah, my intention with it was to assist meditation. And when I get the dose right, it really helps. It really helps me stay in, just focusing on that moment, which I find very difficult normally.
So I'm the opposite. I don't know if it helps me with meditation, because I get lost in thought thinking about the DMT experience. So that's kind of...
It depends if you get the right dose. A lot of times I take too much and then I'm like, tripping out.
It's like chuckling away to yourself, like hee hee hee. Like,
but when I get the dose very low and right, it helps in meditation.
Yeah, we sat there, me and Rich were kind of sat there side by side on the bed, and we were trying to meditate on DMT, and all I can do is like hee 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 hee, and I'm just looking over like she's just hee hee hee. Anyway, right. So that's what we did. And the other thing, we did some mushrooms last night, and that was pretty freaking awesome. And that's why Rachel's a little bit hungover today, because you went a bit hard on the mushrooms.
I did.
It was fun.
It was really fun.
It was fun, and we had a really nice night. And I might talk about that one sometime in the future, but it was a very... Yeah, it's the first time I've done mushrooms.
Wholesome and beautiful.
Yeah, we've not done mushrooms in ages, have we? And then, yeah.
Wholesome and beautiful.
It was a nice return.
Nice.
So, with that all said, I like gibberings. Let's get on to some callers. So, I think the first person to have the hand up was Jimmy from Philly. Called in last week and was jolly entertaining. So, Jimmy, you should have a thing saying, inviting you up to speak. Just need to press a button, Jimmy. I think it'll pop up on the top of the screen. There we go. Yeah, mate.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Jimmy.
Okay, so I watched your one video when you went halfway around the world. You're tripping balls, you got a sick bucket. My question is, does the wife get a night out with the girls? Does she get a spa day? I mean, what's going on here?
Well, most of the time she's there with me, Jimmy. So she comes and does that. On this time, it was just... this was the kind of a one-off, but yeah, we do these things together. We got these very weird marital pastimes where we're going through up together.
You got a good girl there.
I do, man. I love her a lot. We've been together like 21 years. We've been together.
God damn. Let me tell you something. You don't need me to tell you, sex is fantastic.
Oh, mate, for sure.
So explain the sick bucket thing, like.
Which Yeah, because there's a couple. I think the one you might be referring to, Jimmy, is the one where I was doing a Campbell, like the frog poison thing. Was that it?
It looked like Tahiti. I don't fucking know. You were in a hut.
Yeah. So that was it. That was in Peru, and there's a kind of psychedelic called ayahuasca, which is it's basically it's like liquid sort of DMT, and you drink it, and one of the effects is it makes you throw up, but after you throw up, the psychedelic experience you get is kind of like nothing else on this planet. It's
now, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
Is it right up there with the LSD police?
I mean, your LSD police story is pretty wild, Jimmy. I would think.
I'll buy a bucket tomorrow.
Yeah, I think ayahuasca is probably the strongest kind of psychedelic effects. Yeah, it's bonkers, mate. Absolutely bonkers.
So I watch your thing on atheistic spirituality, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have some experience with this. You know who William James is?
I don't think so, no.
William James was like a Renaissance man. He gave lectures at Harvard, Yale, wherever the fuck. He was a philosopher. He was like a man of many things, right? And he gave these lectures, right? And he wrote this book called Varieties of Religious Experiences, right? Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of 50 cent words, but if you skip the transformation, what he's talking about is the moment that you have that personality change, spiritual experience, religious experience, whatever you want to call it, right? They had common denominators.
Okay.
Right? And I can't remember enough, but it was pretty cool. And he went on to say that atheists, he found it entertaining. He was amused by the fact that atheists had the same zeal as believers.
They do, mate. Yeah, I mean, I think it's like with anything. There's extremes at either side. So there's kind of with politics, there's extreme left, extreme right. And
I agree with everything you said on that. You were right on point. I mean,
But there were some really extreme. When I posted that video, I was getting loads of shit back from loads of really extreme atheists who were like saying, "Fuck you and your spirituality! Don't you tell me that I'm spiritual, that I can be spiritual." And I was like, "Fucking hell, dude!" I know.
You didn't say that.
I know, but they weren't listening. They just got triggered. They got triggered by the word. They were like, because they just kind of don't want anything to do with any of it. But I mean, I think that's just them being so silly.
They're looking to disagree with you.
Yeah, basically.
So now listen, I had a sponsor in AA, right? And he told me an agnostic was an atheist with no balls.
I mean, pretty much. I used to think like that, and then I think, especially since I've started having these like psychedelic experiences. Now I'm more of the opinion like, I just don't know what the fuck's on. Who am I to know what's going on? I'm not going to say it's like this or it's like that. And so the only real position is like, I don't know and I don't give a fuck.
Right. That's the best answer. I don't know. I love these people. 1,000 people died in the fire, but they found a baby. Thank Jesus. What about the 100,000 fucking people that died, you moron?
Yeah. And the kid without parents.
Oh, it's just too much, these people. Listen, I think organized religion is a fucking mental illness.
Yeah.
How about that story with Lot, right? Okay, so Lot and his two daughters are out in the wilderness, right? There's no man around, so the daughter gets him drunk. He sleeps with her. Next morning, doesn't remember. So what happens? The sister gets jealous. She gets him drunk. He sleeps with her. He doesn't remember it. Now, come on. Now, I can go for Pillars of Salt, the Red Sea part, and 10 Commandments, but I draw the line at this shit. You're not fucking both your daughters and not remember it. I'm sorry. I can't go. I can't go there. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Yeah, there's some dark shit in the Bible. I mean,
it's insane. A lot of good philosophy. Listen, there's nothing wrong.
For sure,
with
yeah.
Others, like, I mean, what the fuck? Treat your neighbor. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I got a question for you. What the hell is that thing you're in? Is that a van, a ship? What the hell?
Well, this right now is just my kitchen. But usually the setting that I have is like
thing. What is that?
Yeah, it's the cosmic camper van, Jimmy. It's my vehicle as I travel through the nether realms.
Right. So you got a name for it, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna call it the trip ship.
The trip. That's a good name for it as well. Yeah.
It's psychonauts.
Cool.
So, what the fuck did...
I don't know, mate. Go on, mate. Go on.
So listen to this one, right? So, it's related because I was having hallucinations, right? Unfortunately, I was doing another drug which will remain nameless. But was it meth?
What's that? Was it meth?
You got me.
You know,
this was last year.
Last year, good. As long as it was last year, good. Because we talked about this last time. Meth is bad.
Oh, yeah. I agree. But here's what happens, right? I'm up 4 days, right? And suddenly I get this genius idea that there's people up on the third floor shooting fire extinguisher at me, right? So I go grab all the fire extinguishers in the house. I'm spread-eagled on the ground like a sniper. And people are coming to and from work. Hey, how you doing? I'm on the ground shooting this fucking pink dust all over the place. The landlord and her husband come walking up. Somebody snitched on me, right? I'm like, oh, what am I going to say? They come to the top step. They both shake their heads and walk down. I'm like, oh, thank God. Right? So the landlord comes up about a month later. She's always France, Germany, wherever. She's outside. She says, come here. She's in her truck. I said, what? She said, come here. I said, what? She said, come closer. She smacks me upside the head. She said, what the fuck are you doing?
Jimmy, you're a character, mate. You're an absolute character.
You didn't find that funny at all, did you?
I fucking thought it was hilarious, mate. I think you're a legend, Jimmy. Absolute legend.
Oh, it's too much, man. Listen, I run this rooming house, right? And I am the voice of sanity in a sea of insanity. You have no idea. No idea.
Are you in Philly at the moment, Jimmy, or are you just from Philly?
Outside of Philly, in the suburb, Glenside. Very nice around here.
Cool.
Very nice. Listen, I had the 302 this guy, right? He just came out last night.
That's a what? I'm
going to do an interview with him.
What's a 302?
They send you to the farm, you know. Okay. He fucked up. He was nuts. He was there for 10 days, right? He gets out last night, and I was tripping last night. He had me laughing so hard. So I'm going to do an interview with him today, and we're going to go over his 10 days in the farm. He's on board with it, you know.
Well, be gentle with him, Jimmy. Have some compassion for him.
No, I'm glad that, listen, I had to call the dog pound. You know, it was bad. It was bad. And the police were very professional with him. I mean, you know, before he goes to the hospital, he goes to the freezer. He's like, I'll bring him food to the hospital. He grabs a turkey and a frozen chicken, right? And then he's trying to bum a cigarette, and I'm leading him out the door like the Pied Piper. You got to get in that stretcher. I'll give you the cigarette. They strap him down. They give him the cigarette. He hands it back. He's like, I can't smoke that in the ambulance. I'm like, mission accomplished. The cops are laughing. They carted him away. But he got help. You know, he was abusing his fucking medication.
Yeah. Well, I hope he gets the help he needs then, because
he looks a lot better, man. I'm happy for him, you know.
Good stuff, Jimmy. It's awesome to talk to you, mate. We're going to move on to the next caller, mate. But
did you watch the Dr. K thing yet?
I did, mate. I didn't realize you were such a celebrity when we spoke last night. I watched it all, mate, and I thought it was really interesting. I thought
like it?
Well, I thought you were very honest and open about your backstory, Jimmy, and I thought it was heartbreaking, to be honest. I'm not a shrink, so I'm not going to try and analyze you now, but I appreciated how honest you were with your story, and I thought you did a good job of explaining, your sort of, your backstory of what
They were trying like hell to get me to cry or be a victim.
I think,
hard.
I wouldn't want to go like sort of too into it, because also I don't know if how much of the audience would have seen it, but what I think it did show, Jimmy, was that you obviously had a very tough sort of upbringing, and I think it's made you tough, but I don't think I don't think you realise how tough it was, and I think maybe that's kind of made you a bit sort of thick-skinned to how other people might interpret some of this stuff, which I don't think is a bad thing at all, mate. I think, but it was kind of
everything's relative, man. Everything's relative. I mean, to me, it's nothing. To you, it's whoa. Look at that. Yeah.
But I mean, when I was listening to it, I had a similar kind of like tough upbringing. I don't know if you've seen some of my videos.
Did you laugh? Did you laugh?
Did I laugh? You're a very funny guy, Jimmy. So it's. I was laughing at, and I also felt very, a lot of compassion for you. I felt very, very sad to hear some of the stuff that you've been through with and the pride that you had for your daughter and the love that you had for your daughter. So I thought it was a very touching story, and I'm glad you had the opportunity to say it, like Jimmy. On that note, mate, I am going to move on.
Thanks for watching it.
No worries, mate, and I hope to speak to you again soon.
Nice to talk to you.
Bye, Jimmy.
Have a good one.
Okay, so that was Jimmy from Philly, and next we shall bring up...
I'm going to turn the volume up a bit for the callers.
Okay. Next one we'll have Wildman Ninja.
Oh, snap.
How you doing, Ninja?
Oh, so fabulous. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, thanks for coming on, mate. What can we do for you?
Hey, just wanted to say much love to you and Rachel. You guys are doing so much work. I love all your videos and the ayahuasca retreats and what you just got back doing the combo, and you showed you puking your guts out. Good on you.
I had an idea. Next time I do that, I'm going to get a GoPro, like a waterproof camera, and put it in the sick bucket so I can like actually capture the vomit coming down on it in real time.
Yeah, because everyone wants to see that. It's so interesting that people don't know about the purge, and so people think about it as, I think amateurs want to avoid it, but it's really important, And
Yeah.
You got to show it. You got to show that what we're doing here is we're purging out this toxic. I mean, whatever that combo is doing in the ayahuasca. I mean, it's taking the feeling is you're throwing up, but you're getting rid of bad energy, somehow.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. I think there's some element of psychology and kind of ritual, and people would say sort of woo woo, but there is the fact of it is that it does feel better to do it, to get it out. And I was so one of those people who was so averse to being sick. Like the first time I drank ayahuasca, I was doing everything possible not to be sick, and I had the worst time. So
if you avoid it, it's going to make it worse.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, you just sat there tripping your balls, like trying not to throw up, go like, and like trying to breathe, and it's horrible. And then as soon as I got over myself and just like let it come out, then I was like, wow, this is amazing, actually.
Yeah, and I mean, I think most people do know what it's like to throw up, and then after you throw up, you feel better. So I mean, it's so silly that people seem to want to avoid this purging.
I think part of it. Yeah, I think it's that thing from being a kid, isn't it? Like, because when you're a kid and you feel ill, and then especially you don't know what's happening when the first times when you ever throw up when you're a kid. It's and so there's. I think that was it for me. There's some association there of like, don't like this, I don't like this. It's that lack of control.
Yeah, child trauma. There's a lot of trauma that does tie into a lot of because a lot of us when we were children, when your first time you vomited was kind of like a scary situation.
Yeah.
Not for me, but I do. I remember the first time I ever had the flu, and I remember being delirious and having these weird hallucinations.
Yeah.
I felt like what it was for me. I had vivid memories of this. I felt like I was being surrounded by the texture I could only describe as coral reef.
Right.
And then I could also feel something like in my mouth, like a little tiny space in my mouth that was like building pressure. And I was like, I feel like I was biting down like on a cork or something. Weird. And then it was a delirium though, and then I remember walking into my mommy's bedroom and going, "Mom, I don't feel good." And then I just threw up all over the place. And then my mom took care of me, and it was just like this childhood memory, but it was my first memory of throwing up for sure. And so maybe a lot of us have these childhood traumas of not wanting or throwing up as being kind of a hard thing. And
flu, those kind of fever dreams that you have with flu, they're pretty kind of psychedelic in themselves. They're fucking so bizarre. Like, I mean, me and Rachel both had flu one time just before we went on an ayahuasca retreat, and literally just the week before we were going to fly out to Peru, we could not get out of bed. We were just tripping our fucking heads off.
Horrible.
It was this crazy fever dream, and we knew that we were about to fly out to Peru, and it was
5 days in bed.
well, literally didn't get out of bed for it was awful.
And you guys had, I remember you made that video about the COVID, so you did all the regulations, you got your shots, you did all the checks. I mean,
yeah, this was
COVID.
this is way before COVID. This was a couple of years ago when we had the flu thing. So this wasn't the recent one. No, thankfully this time I was like in pretty good health, because that would have been I don't think they would have even let me in if I'd turned up to Peru pouring sweat like they would have.
Well, you know, I think on the subject of purging, real quick, because every time I smoke weed, I cough and then I spit. Like even when you smoke a little bit of the weed makes you purge, just makes you spit a little bit, and then you move on to mushrooms, and then sometimes your tummy gets upset, you vomit, but then ayahuasca, you're purging full on, like, and then so I mean, there's something to it, and there's a lot to talk about, but I want to move past it just a little bit. But the main point is there's definitely that ugly side to it. Everyone wants to experience the bliss and the love and the pure. But there's that ugly side, that dirty side, where you have to cleanse out and detox, and that's why it was so cool to see you do the combo, because then people can learn. It's not just you don't go straight to ayahuasca. These retreats, you first start with combo ceremony, and then you do some yoga. They have yoga and massage therapy at these places, don't they? Well,
I think that's one of the things I try and like get across about these retreats, because I think what a lot of people aren't into this idea of going on a retreat, because it's like, well, why would I pay that amount of money just to get high? I can do that at home. But I think what people need to understand.
It's a professional process.
Yeah, exactly. It's a package. You're going. It's like a mental getaway. Like you say, it's a physical getaway, because it's like yoga, massage, all this stuff. It's a sort of a complete sort of detachment from your normal life and your phone and all the kind of bullshit that goes on. And then you have the things like the ayahuasca, but it's all done within this kind of residential 24/7 therapy framework, really. So it's much more than just getting drugs in the jungle. It's
getting drugs in the jungle.
That's what people. Oh, you're just some fucking hipster drinking drugs in the jungle. Like you're an idiot. Just do it on yourself. Make it yourself. It's like.
Hey, you know what's funny? I just went to see this guy. His name's JP Sears. I think everyone knows him. He's on the internet with the
satire hippie guys.
Yeah. And he came to Santa Cruz. This is where I live, in Santa Cruz, and he came here, and I went and saw him as a stand-up comedian. He was making jokes about ayahuasca, and he's like, "Yeah, it's no big deal. It just feels like dying for 8 hours." I'm like, what? And I just love that joke, because he was like, "Yeah, I mean, for 8 hours, it's not all fun and games. 8 hours of struggling and purging and facing your demons and facing yourself and getting through the hard parts. But then, of course, there is the good part. There is after you get all that out, you have to do that. Then you feel better.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. It's like a spiritual sort of mental psychological gym. No pain, no gain. You sort of.
Dude, you're speaking my language, because I'm the American Ninja Warrior.
I know, man. I know.
Dude, that's what I do. I go in the sauna and I sweat out the toxins. I stretch it out. That's what it's all about, man. Every time you exercise, you're purging out, you're sweating out toxins. It's not even. You don't have to be. It's not even. Even with micro doses of mushrooms and stuff is cool. But I mean, every time you exercise, it's basically a psychedelic event. You're giving your body a purge and then renewing it. And that's what a psychedelic event is, in a big way, mentally, for your soul. It's like you purge, renew, reboot. It's like. Yeah,
and you're challenging yourself as well. I think you're sort of it's you sort of connecting to yourself through such challenge. Like can I do this? Do I have the willpower to do this? And so.
Bob, are you a Dragon Ball Z fan?
I am, mate. Yeah.
Dude, that's what Vegeta and then they go in there and you got to fight and kick your own ass, and then you level up. But you got to kick your own ass.
Oh yeah, Vegeta is probably my favorite character in that thing. I fucking love Vegeta.
Yeah, man. See, we're trying to get all the Dragon Balls, and then we got to kick our own ass and level up to get better and better and better and better. We're every day progressing. and overcoming obstacles with the spirits. You know,
That's
like
it, mate.
Ganesh.
For the-
Ganesh, shout
just
out.
for the joy of it, for the joy of challenging yourself.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh, man. The first time I actually got to smoke DMT was with a homie of mine. Man, he's in Oregon right now, and he's traveling. His name's the Beast Whisperer. He's on YouTube too. You can look him up, the Beast Whisperer. But he has this amazing talent to speak to the banana slugs.
Okay.
And
What's a banana slug?
Okay. So in Santa Cruz, the redwood tree forests are everywhere, and we have this animal. It's a banana slug. This little yellow slug creature, and it just lives in the forest. You walk around. If you were to come to Santa Cruz and go on a little pleasure hike, you'd look around the forest and you'd see these little yellow slugs crawling around the ground.
Okay.
And they're called banana slugs because they're yellow like a banana. But they're beautiful creatures. They have these beautiful eyes, and they poke out. And if you get close to them, they'll pull their eyeballs in, and if you scare them, and they'll huddle up. So the trick is to not scare them. You go up and you look at them, and they have these beautiful little antenna eyes, and they'll poke out, and then they reach, and then the very tips of their eyeballs, these little balls, they're little alien antenna balls, and they're looking at you, and they're looking up, and they're going, "What is this?" And you're looking at down, going, "What are you?" And it's
It's like first contact.
Exactly. And so my friend, his name's JR, the Beast Whisperer. He speaks to the slugs, man. And I smoked DMT with him, and now I understand why. Because he's like an interdimensional polyglot. You know what a polyglot is, right?
I don't, mate. No.
Oh, polyglots are people who speak more than several languages. Like
Okay.
if you speak if you speak 2 languages, you're bilingual, right? If you speak trilingual, but a polyglot can speak many languages. And almost in a Dr. Dolittle way, the psychedelics open your mind, and now you're talking to trees, you're talking to banana slugs,
Just talking across life.
Yeah, my point is, like, I met this guy and he was speaking to a banana slug, and I'm going, this guy's amazing. Why is he talking to the slugs? And then I got to know him, and I'm like, oh, because he's a polyglot. He knows how to speak to the trees and the mycelium network, and he's connected to nature because of just his unique abilities. I mean, growing up here in Santa Cruz, and I mean, there's a whole bunch of wizards and witches out here. There's a lot of sacred energy out here, I'm telling you.
I can imagine, mate. Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's one of the things when you have these experiences, you just get sort of more tuned into life, basically, and sort of maybe that's what you do. You don't necessarily need language anymore. You just have a sort of an operating system of being able to relate to life, whether it's a slug or a tree or whatever. I think that's why people feel like very close to nature and stuff.
Hey, I smoked salvia, and now I smoked salvia once, and I turned into a sandwich inside a lunchbox, and it made me believe that even inanimate objects might be alive. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, panpsychism, mate. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, and then in Hinduism, everything's alive. Everything has a spirit. Every tree, every rock, every stone, every sand.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think there's an interesting argument to that, where it's like, where people say, no, of course a rock's not alive, and you say, well, what would you expect it to do? Like, how can you say it's not? Like, what would you expect it to do? Would you expect the rock to move? Like, of course, it's a rock; it's not going to move. But how do you know it's not conscious? Like, is the sun conscious? It's like it's got all this energy going. It's more energy in the sun than there is in us. Why couldn't the sun be conscious? And I'm not saying I necessarily believe that, but it's like it's
But there's something to it.
There's something. There's as much as activity going on in the sun as there is in our heads. So why not?
And it definitely feels when you open the doors with the psychedelics, whether the gateway, the marijuana, and you're on your way to mushrooms, then you're on the way to LSD, but all of them, I mean, you start opening up these gateways of consciousness, and one day you're gonna be talking to that rock that you once thought was just an inanimate object, and now it's God.
That day was long ago, man. I've spent many a night talking to rocks, and we've had some very intimate experiences with rocks. And Rachel had an affair one time with a cloud. She went on a retreat and she got very intimate with a cloud.
Would it be rude if I asked to speak to Rachel for just a moment?
Go for it. I mean, she can hear.
Sure.
Oh, Rachel.
Hi.
Oh my God. Rachel, bless you.
Bless you too.
I love that little quick video. It was like 16 seconds where it was like just one hit of DMT, and then it was all of a sudden, and then you were like just like going, oh, and then somehow I think Rob edited it with his magic, and then there was that magic, the special effects around you, and I had to comment because I was like, that is exactly what it's like. You nailed it. You guys nailed it, and I love watching you experience and share your experience. So thank you, Rachel, for showing yourself do what you do on camera with us, because your spirit is so beautiful and pure and innocent and amazing. And Rob, you're a lucky man because you have an angel there.
I know.
And Rob, your wings are, man, you're strong as a motherfucker. Like, so you guys are angels, and they're just.
Oh, cheers, Ninja.
Thank you.
Oh, well, you touched us. Thanks, Ninja. And yeah, you're right. I am a lucky man. Bless her.
I love you guys so much.
Cheers,
Love you too.
Right, Ninja, we're going to move on to the next caller. So thanks for calling, mate. And hopefully I'll speak to you next time, yeah?
Yeah, mate.
Later, dude.
Bye.
Right, cheers.
Oh. So yes, Ninja does some Ninja Warrior stuff. He's actually done it.
Really?
Yeah, to show you some of his videos. So yeah, let's bring up. Who should we have? I think Preston was next. Preston, you should have a button.
Hello, can you hear me, Rob?
We can, mate. How are you doing?
How are both of you doing, Rob and Rachel? How are you doing?
How are you doing, Rach?
Doing much better than I was last week.
Oh right, yeah, because Rachel's. I think I talked about this in the last one. Rachel had a bit of an accident, and
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah.
I fell on my face.
Yeah, she fell. She got concussed. She smashed some of her teeth, and she cut all her face open. But now she's the hospital
patched up a bit now.
Stitched her up. She's got some temporary fake teeth in, and
yeah,
she's doing much better. So yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, Preston. How about you?
Great. Well, you know that taking mushrooms like you did last night, like she did. I don't know if you did, but
I did.
Oh, okay. Taking mushrooms, I've found like the body feeling afterwards. It's not just like a body high. It's like afterwards, wow, I feel like I just spent like a year at the gym.
Yeah, I mean we.
Feel that?
Yeah. I mean the experience that we had last night was just
beautiful.
Yeah, just awesome. I can't go into too much detail about it without giving too much away. But it was a really beautiful experience. First time I've done mushrooms in ages. Can't remember last time I did mushrooms. Probably like beginning of the year or something. So yeah, it was a kind of like a welcome return. I did a lot of mushrooms. I've been making mushroom chocolates. So we got some chocolates, got some mushrooms, ground them all up, melted them into chocolate. So we had these kind of just basically little chocolate bars, and I ate quite a few of those. So pretty good. So yeah, it's good. But I know what you mean, mate. Yeah, after mushrooms, I think mushrooms is one of the best kind of day after feelings you get. In fact, I think that with all psychedelics, LSD, I have a bit of a sort of after effect, like the day after I can feel it a bit, but like ayahuasca and mushrooms, I just the next day I'm like la 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 la.
That's exactly what I wanted to talk with you about, because I was going to be like, well, I've been thinking about some of the stereotypes that people have about DMT, and you discussed one of them like immediately. You're like talking about a 5-minute experience, and I'm thinking, man, too many people just think that, oh, you smoke DMT for 5 minutes and then you're done, the experience is done, and there's no lasting effect. I've seen your videos, so I know that you've covered it a little bit previously, but the stigma, but like the idea is still there, you know.
Yeah, I think it's it's a kind of a compressing it too much to say it's just a 5-minute experience, because you could say there are things that happen within a 5-minute experience which the effect of that 5-minute experience will have, drastically alter the course of your day or your week or whatever. You can be in a car crash in 5 minutes, and even if you come out of that car crash completely unscathed, just the shock of it, like, that's going to affect the rest of your day. So when you have something like these DMT experiences that I've been having on a kind of like a daily basis, then the experience, the actual like psychedelic experience is a 5-minute experience. But the effect that has on you, it doesn't just go away in 5 minutes. Like, it's not like, okay, that was that. Now it's on to, washing the dishes, and it's just completely forgotten. It stays with you, and it shifts your perspective of that day. And basically what you've done is it's had a drastic change of model of how reality works for 5 minutes. And that's something that you kind of, the after effects of that, the way you process that lasts a lot longer than 5 minutes. So what I've noticed is that I've noticed myself thinking very differently about things just because of those 5-minute effects. So I think I think people downplay the fact that it's just a 5-minute thing. It's the most dramatic 5 minutes of your existence.
Yeah, there's so many aspects of this subject that I wanted to ask you about and talk about, especially the lasting effects. If you're spending 5 minutes in a timeless field where you're just completely outside of time, then that's so different from just 5 minutes, peeing or something. It's just how can you summarize that for the average person though? Because everybody's just going to think you're crazy, right?
Well, I think it's like I say that I think if you relate it to something else which can also take 5 minutes, like if 5 minutes in the ring with a UFC fighter will drastically change your perception about who you are, what your capabilities are, how you got into this situation, how are you going to get out. It will force you through a sort of crisis of like, what am I going to do now in this situation? I'm about to get my fucking head kicked in by this trained martial artist. 5 minutes at the top of Mount Everest will drastically change your perception of what the world is, and what the world can look like, the vastness of being that sort of high and having this perspective of the whole planet. 5 minutes at the bottom of the ocean by scuba diving, as you look up and through corals, any one of these experiences can drastically change your perspective. So the fact that it takes 5 minutes is neither here or there. And that's it's like you've got these guys at the moment who are like blasting off into space and spending literally only 10-15 minutes in low orbit before they come down again. But 10 minutes in space looking down on the planet would change your perspective forever. So the time aspect of it, how long it is completely irrelevant. 5 minutes in sort of psychedelic hyperspace, having the meaning of the universe laid out before you, is it's one of the fucking biggest experiences of your life. Who cares it lasts 5 minutes? It's
like 5 minutes looking at your newborn, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When your kid's born and you first hold them, that moment is a moment of eternity. You don't even have to sit there for 5 minutes holding your kid. It's just like it's frozen in time, and it changes your perspective forever. So yeah, I think I wouldn't reduce these things down to like, oh, it's 5 minutes, so therefore that's not as good as spending 3 days awake on Iboga or something like that. I mean, it's just everything's got its own experience, its own kind of perspective around it.
I really like the way that you present your ideas. That both you and Rachel really, you guys are really in a good place to show off some really good ideas for making these things palatable to a bunch of different people, not just people like me who are always going to take mushrooms or DMT or whatever. But you're really good at presenting your ideas.
Thanks, mate.
But no problem. And I was wondering if I could share a quick analogy just to your audience.
Sure, please do.
Okay. A lot of people get like apprehension when they're taking DMT, and I felt myself being one of them, and that became like an all-consuming thing, and so I found myself at the foot of this giant roller coaster, and the guy who's sitting there, he's at the ticket booth, and he's obviously an alien. DMT is not going to be someone normal. So this alien is just looking at me with his like 5 faces, and he's just like looking disappointed. He's like, "God damn, man! You just either take the ride or don't." So I just came out of that ride, and came out of the DMT trip, and I was just like, "Man, he's totally right." So if you're going to do it, I would say just do it, and don't waste a trip like I did. And I hope the analogy like came across to people in this.
Yeah, mate. I'd try and build a little bit on that analogy, because I can totally relate, and I think a lot of people get that kind of fear and that anxiety and stuff like that. And the way I always try and proposition it to myself is that, like, dude, this ride is there to be taken. Like, this is your right. Like, just go for it. This is whenever we watch like movies like The Matrix and stuff like that, we put ourselves in the position of like Neo being handed the pills, the red pill and the blue pill, and like we're all think, yeah, I would take, I would take the red pill. I would want to see what's on the other side. And even though it like within that movie, Neo goes through a painful experience of waking up and coming to terms with it, but you'd still do it. You still identify with Neo, and you still know that's the right choice. And so that's the kind of how I put that to myself. Like, yeah, this is scary. There's no doubt about it. This is scary. You are shaking up the very safe idea of what you think reality is, and you're going to replace it with something else. But it's worth doing the trip. It's worth taking that step, because it is a step, especially I think in the case of something like DMT, it's a step towards like, possibly a divine experience, and that is your right, that is your birthright. So yeah, I think it's a good analogy, mate. Thank you for sharing it.
Oh wow, well thank you for all those great analogies, man. I just wanted to ask one last question of you.
Sure.
How much do you think that the DMT is like, I don't know, interacting with I wouldn't say a cosmic consciousness, just like the entire consciousness of people. How much do you think it's really interacting between people?
Yeah,
when you take it.
Yeah, this one I don't place too much. I don't really go all in any one of these kind of theories, because like saying before to Jimmy, I don't know, and I don't. My answer is always, without being too flippant, I don't really care, because I think it doesn't matter whether it's aliens or God or just drugs acting on my brain. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is this experience, and that I'm having it, and that I'm having my life, and it's like and it's having a positive benefit. So this is where I sort of ground myself. But obviously I think these ideas are extremely fun, and I think they're extremely interesting to explore. And so just to answer your question, my sort of where I'm leaning at the moment is that I'm think of consciousness as something kind of like gravity, in that it's a field that is there, that objects generate gravity by interacting with sort of space-time. So even a rock, the smallest rock, has gravity. The bigger the rock, the bigger the gravity field. And I think sort of consciousness is something like that. And that's certainly how it came to me in my psychedelic experience. Like, there is a field of consciousness which is interacting through us in the way that the rock is interacting through its relationship with space-time. Consciousness is interacting through its relationship with living matter, and the experience that we are having is a result of that. And I think that when we alter that experience through things like psychedelics, then yeah, we are, I don't know, somehow we experience more of that consciousness. It's what it feels like. It feels like more of it, like sort of we're exposed to more of that field. I don't pretend to understand it any more than that. Actually, I'm just telling you that's what it feels like to me. But yeah, so I think that's how I think there is. I think there is some, like, consciousness is a fundamental force of the universe, like, you know, gravity, the nuclear forces, these things. There is a consciousness field.
Wow, your perspective is so interesting. I wanted to ask one more question, please. Just one more.
Go for it, mate.
You know how people are still playing like Mozart, Bach, Beethoven, because these artists are like timeless. And people talk about Tim Berg, aka Avicii, as being, oh, he's like timeless. So I'm wondering, what do you think, hundreds or 1,000 years from now, who do you think that they'll be playing from this age or from any age, like artists?
Oh, of the modern age, God, that's a big question. What do you think? Would you say, is there anything? I mean, the stuff that I like is very. I really like kind of like synthesizer-y stuff. So the stuff that I think is kind of particularly stuff that I listen to now that I heard many years ago, and I think is still timeless, is stuff like kind of Vangelis, like stuff off, like I like a lot of like movie soundtracks like Blade Runner and stuff. So I don't know, I think that's got a sort of a timeless quality to it. I think a lot of stuff like pop music will age, but I don't know. What do you think?
I think the classicals will continue.
I think classic, yeah. I think classical music will always
be the most timeless.
I agree with that as well. All right, so nice to talk to you both.
You too, Preston. All right, mate. Well, hopefully we'll speak to you again soon. Okie dokie. I think next up we've got Emma. So Emma, you should have a button. So a little button should be on the top of your screen somewhere, Emma, that if you click on that, you can come up to speak. There we go. Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Emma. How you doing?
Yes. Hi, Rob. You okay?
Good. And you?
Yeah, I can barely hear you though.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure why.
Can you hear us enough? I don't know if
1 second. Maybe I can just
crank up the volume a bit.
No, it's all right. I can just hear you, so I'll just put my ear next to the phone. Hi, Rachel. You okay?
Hi. Yes. Are you okay?
Yeah. Honestly, I can't tell you how absolutely buzzing I am that I've found you guys. I was literally at work one day and I was just on YouTube, like doing whatever. And I came across Rob and me and my friend was just sat watching the video. And I'm just so glad that I feel like it's like synchronicity, like because I'm looking into all these things, like I found you guys that just explain everything. And I love watching your videos. I love what you're about. I love your little camper van thing. And I just think it's I can't stop watching the videos, to be honest.
Oh, good. I'm glad you find it helpful, Emma.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, because a few years back, I wanted to try and go on an ayahuasca retreat, and in 2020 it would have been my 40th birthday, so me and my friends was like, yeah, we're going to go out and we're going to do the Inca Trail, and I was like, I might go out a week or two early and go and do one of these retreats, and everyone's like, oh, what's that? Anyway, obviously COVID happened, so I couldn't go. And then I've literally just paid my deposit to go in June to Peru, Iquitos, to this retreat. So obviously I'm not going to go with any expectations. I've watched a few bits and pieces, and I'm thinking, it can be very different for everyone. So I'm just going to kind of go out there and just be hopeful that whatever the experience is, that it's good. And I'm sure there's going to be moments where it's not so good, But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So I know I asked you a few questions, didn't I, on Messenger?
Yeah. Do you mind? But feel free to ask away. Anything you want to know, we'll answer for you.
Well, basically, what it is, Rob, I don't even know. Somebody gave me some DMT once, like about a year ago, and I didn't quite know what it was. So I was like looking on the internet, thinking, how do I do this? So obviously I've been to Amsterdam with me and my friends who go do mushrooms and all that, LSD and whatnot. But this DMT, I thought, I don't even know how you do it. So I bought this little pipe off Amazon, and it was telling me like to burn it underneath, and like I really couldn't figure it out. So in the end, I just popped it into the pipe and just literally put a lighter over it. You know, like how you would do sort of like with resin in the early days, and I mean it was amazing. I had a little bit left, and I did that straight away, and it was just such a like if my eyes was open or closed, I could just see the same thing, like all mad geometrical colours, shapes, all that stuff. It didn't last very long, but it was brilliant. So my question is to you guys: you're from Wigan, Rob?
I am, originally, from Lee.
Can't believe you're from Lee in Wigan. I used to work in Wigan actually, but so this DMT, you guys, you're always up to this and that and whatnot, and I'm just like, where do you guys get all this stuff from? Somebody needs to hook me up, because I need to be going to Amsterdam every time I want to have a trip.
You can make it.
The simple thing is, and I think the best advice I would give to any psychonaut is that pretty much all this stuff and all the stuff that we talk about on our channel, you can make it yourself. We grow our own mushrooms. We grow our own sort of psychedelic cacti. The DMT you can buy sort of root bark and extract it yourself. You do a little bit of cooking. It's nothing too complicated. And and by doing that, you become completely self-sufficient. So you don't have to worry about drug dealers or getting sold shitty product. You can become completely self-sufficient with this thing, and really, and do it very cheaply as well. So that's my advice to anyone is like learn some of this stuff for yourselves. Go look on sites like DMT Nexus or the Shroomery.
Shroomery.
You can get all these stuff. I mean, things like in the UK, you can order mushroom spores legally online. It's perfectly legal for you to buy mushroom spores, and you can just grow your own.
Oh my god!
So there's loads of ways of getting all this stuff. Same with psychedelic cacti. You can buy those legally in the UK.
Oh god! I've been like I was trying to figure out. I was thinking, I need to do that again. I need to experience it again. And I was like looking all over, and somebody said to me, "Oh yeah, my mate got it off like the dark web and just Toros," and I thought, I don't trust any of that. Like, I don't know who I'm speaking to or anything. I was thinking, everybody else seems to be getting high on DMT. Why can't I find?
Well, anyway, I'd say the dark web's actually dark web's pretty good. We did a lot of stuff off the dark web, and we've always found it really good, because the dark web is pretty much just like Amazon, and the people on there are trying to build up reputations of good product. So we've not had anything shitty off the dark web, and I would say
quality's good.
Yeah, the quality is really good, because people
just hit and miss, though, isn't it? The different markets just randomly disappear.
And the only thing with the dark, it's a ball ache. It's a ball ache having to go and buy bitcoins and then do all this kind of stuff and make sure that you're doing it securely, so that you're not giving away
PGP and everything.
Yeah, you're not giving away your address.
Well, to be honest, I made sure like I've locked all my computer down and stuff like that, with VMPs and stuff, and that's great to hear that, because I've been so close so many times. Me and my mate was like, oh, do we trust it? What if it's someone? What if we get in trouble? And we're like, oh, it's all skitting about. And I'm thinking, one of these days you're just gonna have to like take a bit of a leap of faith and just hope that it all turns out all right. But no, it's good to hear that. Are you back home for Christmas?
We are. We're going to be heading back when we hopefully, fingers crossed, because there's been some changes around the COVID regulations and quarantine and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, we're going to be in the UK from when is it? Christmas Eve through till New Year. We're going to spend like a week back there, catching up with all our family and stuff like that.
Oh, nice. That's great. But can I ask Rachel? Rachel, where are you from?
I'm from Manchester.
No, you're not. I live in Manchester.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not from Manchester originally. I'm from Hull originally, but I moved here when I was like 21. I'm like 41 now, so I've been here like 20 years. But I really couldn't work out your accent at first. I thought, I didn't know if
posh.
Like,
she's got a posh accent.
I get told that a lot, that people don't get my accent, and I have to explain. I think it's because we've been living in Switzerland for 8 years, and it's kind of mellowed into some sort of European blend or something. I don't know.
It sounds lovely though, honestly. I love watching you both. I just wanted to ask one last thing.
Sure.
So obviously I've only just found you guys, so I've been, when you're on YouTube and it like kind of links to another video and another video. And obviously I came across that. Is it actualized.org?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. When I said to you in my message, when I said, like, I love watching you guys because I just love how down to earth you both are, and the way, like, you kind of explain things that people can understand. And I watched that video with that guy, and that was the guy I was on about. I was saying I watched someone the other day and I couldn't even take it. I had to turn it off. I was just like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, he's a strange potato. I mean, I don't want to like wail on Leo too much. Leo from Actualized. I think you know, I've said a lot of nice things about him as well, but because I think he's an interesting guy. I think he's got some interesting ideas, but he's just so up his own arse, and so I think he just gets lost in his own bullshit sometimes. And I mean, that's one thing I'm really grateful for, that I can do these things with Rachel, because she keeps me in check. We keep each other in check, you know. But if you live it, you know, if you're on your own and you're just doing all these things all the time, you're just sort of like living this kind of hermit sort of permanently off your tits lifestyle, then I'm sure you can get some very strange ideas. And he's not capable of grounding himself. So that's why I said, what Leo? Whoa, dude.
Yeah. And I liked it when you pointed out the fact that he was like, when he finally came around to like what he'd been saying, he was like saying to people, you know, you can get lost in it and you can do it. I loved the way that you pulled him out on that. It was great. But yeah, honestly, guys, like I say, I'm new to you, so I've got loads of stuff still yet to watch, and I'm really looking forward to it. And hopefully I'll message you in the group or whatnot, and hopefully see you both again. So thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Honestly, it's amazing.
It's our pleasure, and I'm glad you found it useful, Emma. And any questions, just give us a shout. You can message me direct on Discord, or just wait until the next show and then come and ask us some more.
Well, nice one, guys. You take it easy.
All right, bye, Emma.
Thanks, Emma. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye.
Okie dokie. So Rachel needs to depart now, don't you? You need to go in line there, but I'll carry on doing another couple.
Just a little bit.
Okay. So say bye to everyone, Rach.
Bye-bye, everyone. Till next time. Have a great time.
And give me another go on your vapey before you disappear. Right, who's next? So got Big Fat Daddy Sax. That's an awesome name. Now that Rachel's gone, I could probably put my camper van background back on now, because let's see if I can turn this on. Where's my thing? So Big Fat Daddy Sax, you should have a button you can press.
That's you.
Yeah. How you doing, mate? Now that Rachel's gone, I could probably put my camper van. I'm just going to try and get it working. Let's see.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't figure this out.
Well, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I hear you. But...
Oh, I'm sorry, my phone's very low. I can barely hear you.
But okay. Is that any better?
All right, I got it. I got it. So how's it going, man?
It's going all right, mate.
Having a good night?
I'm having a pretty good. I've had a pretty awesome weekend, to be honest, mate. Yeah, so it's been really good, thank you.
Yeah, it's just funny. I was hanging out with my friend. I saw your stream, and I figured I'd try to call you.
Yeah, cool. So what do you want to chat about?
I did have a couple questions for you.
Go for it, mate.
Because recently, me and my friends just been going through some hard times, and we're thinking about like trying DMT and seeing if it could help us or maybe benefit us. And we've been doing it for a while and just had some weird experiences I wanted to ask you questions about, actually.
Sure. Go for it.
Yeah, so would it technically be possible to break through with your eyes open, or maybe like go in and out of like consciousness while you were breaking through, and like
having your eyes open at a certain point, it doesn't make a difference if your eyes are open or closed. I mean, that's the point really when you have broken through. When you break through, what is going on in the real world doesn't matter, because you are dealing with a complete reality swap I mean, a complete reality swap. But like the room you are in is no longer there. It doesn't matter if if your eyes are open or what you are hearing. You are in another reality. Your brain is modeling a completely different reality. So the fact that your eyes are open or closed makes no difference, because you're not seeing these things. When you're seeing this kind of geometry, it's not actually coming through your eyes, it's in your brain. So it doesn't matter whether your eyes are open or not, and that's when you really know that you've had one of these breakthroughs. It's just you don't even know that you've got a body anymore, never mind if your eyes are open or closed. No, I think before that sort of, before you have that sort of that full breakthrough, then you can have a sort of different experience of having your eyes open and seeing geometry in the room, and then closing your eyes, and then you might have something more imagination-y going on. But a full breakthrough, your body doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, and while you're going through that experience, you can just have questions answered from like voices in your head. And
I mean that's the thing of the end. Kind of when people talk about entities, you're having an experience of autonomous being, something which seems separate to yourself, where you can have a dialogue with it, where it's you are communicating with something that does not feel like you. It doesn't feel like that this is something you are imagining. It feels like it feels like another being, and it's incredibly vivid. Now, what that actually is, I've got no idea. This is where people would say this is kind of interdimensional aliens, or perhaps this is like psychological archetypes or inner voices or whatever. I've got no idea, but I think whatever it is something that we do not normally have access to, which now we do. And I think by having access to that, then you can find insights out about yourself, like truly have dialogue and get to the root of things that might be holding you back, like where is this anxiety coming from, like who do I want to be, all these kind of questions. You can have this dialogue.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like just your consciousness, like just telling you stuff, like telling you kind of like what you need to do in your current situation. It's just
I think in that way,
that state of mind, you just perceive it in a different way.
Yeah, in that way, I think it's very much like kind of therapy. When you go and have therapy and you're talking to a therapist, and really what you're doing in that sort of, you're having a dialogue with the therapist, but really having a dialogue with yourself. By these kind of questions and answers going on with a therapist, you're getting to the root of what's going on with you. And I think that's the same thing. That's what's happening in these psychedelic experiences. You're having a dialogue with a thing that you kind of trust and that you kind of have an intimate relationship with. And it is yourself. It's your inner voices. It's your inner child. It's your subconscious. And because of that, you can work through things in the same way that you work through them with a therapist. But really, it's you doing the work. That's kind of what I think is the interesting thing with it. And that's why I don't necessarily go for the ideas around it being aliens and stuff. I think it's you, doing the work on yourself, and it's just you have these kind of these subconscious entities that help you do it.
Yeah, you explained that beautifully. I agree completely on that. I didn't want hello?
Yeah, I'm still here, mate.
Oh, you cut out for a second.
Tell me your experiences on the emails.
But yeah, I just have maybe one more question.
Sure,
maybe
go for
two.
it.
Yeah, I'll try to make it quick.
No, it's fine, mate. You go for it.
Oh, all right. I appreciate it. All right, so what do you think your views would be on about the legality of psychedelics?
On the legality of psychedelics, I think that's a really tricky one, and I flip-flop on this quite a lot. So let me put it this way: I do not think psychedelics or pretty much any drugs should be criminalized. I don't think people should be going to jail for possession of drugs and stuff like that. On the same, while I think that should be like a given, this kind of like war on drugs thing is just complete fucking nonsense. I don't want all drugs to be freely available because there is, these are powerful things, and I don't think, I don't necessarily want my kids to be able to go and buy heroin, or to be able to go and buy cocaine, or even just to be able to just pop down the street and go and buy ayahuasca or something like that. I think these places should exist. These things should exist in places where there is a safe framework for them to be able to exist.
Yeah, exactly. Like psychedelic clinics.
Yeah, clinics, or I mean, clinics sounds a bit too dry and a bit something. I don't know what it is. I mean, I like the idea of even like what they have in South America, like psychedelic churches. Just something where there's some kind of community framework where these things can happen, rather than I don't want to see kids on the streets doing ayahuasca and mushrooms and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's irresponsible.
Yeah, but I think
you can't stop that. People will just do whatever.
Yeah, but I would like to see. I mean, obviously, I'm a big advocate for psychedelics. I would like to see psychedelics go more mainstream, but society is going to have to mature along with that, so that we are able to cope with it. Because it can't. You hear like sort of horror stories of, kids having like bad experiences on psychedelics, and they end up in sort of being taken to hospitals, and the doctors don't know what to do with them, so they just put them in a room in a psych ward for like 8 hours while they freak out and come. Like, that's no good. We're going to have to mature so that we know how to deal with people who are going through sort of bad times, and that the medical system is catching up to that. So we can't just throw psychedelics out into the world as it is today and say, okay, this is legal, go for it, because then that's just going to be like setting off a psychological nuclear bomb. So yeah, I think in terms of legality, I think it's a way we should go. I think there'd have to be a lot of changes along the way.
Like regulated, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely regulated, because you want to make sure that people are getting hold of things are what they say they are. If somebody can go and buy DMT, then it should be DMT and not be meth. For instance. So yeah, I think.
Sorry, my bad.
No, it's okay. Go on, mate.
I was just gonna say, do you think you could, eventually, we could make people more responsible and more mature about taking these drugs, like psychedelics?
Yeah, for sure.
Personally, I feel like we just can't trust people. Like, it's always gonna be some crazy stoner kid just gonna take a bunch and get thrown in the hospital. And
well, it depends. It depends on the society, and I think this is what I mean, where society itself needs to mature. But there are places which have integrated psychedelic use and with just normal society, and this is one of the reasons why I go to places like Peru. You go to Peru, and there is nothing taboo about psychedelics in Peru. It's you can go into a cafe and have your breakfast and be having a perfectly normal conversation about how transcendent the experience you had last night, because the society is able to cope with it. It's just built into the society. You can go to work, and then at the weekend you can go and do ayahuasca, and you can talk about those things together. There's no taboo there. Whereas if you did that in the UK, obviously they think you got fucking insane. So it is possible. It's absolutely possible. And there's lots of societies which have integrated psychedelics into use, and I think that's what's happening now with weed. I think weed is like becoming a very mainstream thing now, and I think all the better for it.
Yeah.
And I think because it's kind of happening over time, and it's happening in a kind of a controlled way, then it's like people are getting used to it, and it's just kind of being baked into the society. And I think that's possible, and I think that'll possibly happen with mushrooms as well. As it's kind of coming in through a therapeutic route, and it'll sort of maybe extend out that way. And I think by doing that, then society can mature, but it needs to happen kind of at that controlled pace, I think, rather than just like, okay, guys, go get fucked.
So are you talking about like the Delta 8 and different types of like derivatives of Delta 8 that came out, and a lot of people are switching to that from weed?
No, I don't.
That's like sold everywhere.
I don't even know what Delta 8 is, mate. So that's a new one.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm not I don't really smoke weed myself. I'm not. I just don't like it. Rachel, she smokes weed a lot, but it's never been my drug, so I don't really follow that kind of culture too much.
Yeah, and you're in you live in Switzerland, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful country.
It is, mate. It's like a postcard. It's very lucky to live here.
But yeah, there's legal derivative of weed in America, and it is getting sold everywhere. Pretty much any state, you can just go and buy what's pretty much weed, and I feel like that's gonna integrate into society. More people are gonna be switching from normal weed to that due to it. So you don't have to go to a drug dealer, and it's easier and cheaper to get.
Well, that's a good thing. I think getting rid of this
I think it's going to get people more used to having weed around, and society maybe will get more, adjusted.
Yeah, I think we need to get rid of this kind of like black market culture around sort of drugs. This idea of like drug dealers and stuff, because I think that's where a lot of the harm's happening, in this kind of things being illegal. So people are having to go to shady people and buy shady things, which they don't know where they came from, and you've got all these drug cartels and stuff. So if we get rid of all that part, and we have like, you know, safe products, which we can be, you know, going through safe channels into society, and there's, you know, places set up where people can do these things in a safe way, then I think that's going to lead to a sort of a happier, you know, more integrated way of these things working. And yeah, I think that like I say, for me, I would happily, you know, get rid of that kind of entire black market thing of hanging around on street corners with drug dealers and shit like that.
Yeah, exactly. I agree completely. Do you mind asking if I ask like one more question? I'll make this one like really quick.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. You wanted help on like pre-flight anxiety?
Ask about your DMT anxiety.
Yeah, would you have any like tips for like pre-flight anxiety with DMT?
I've got a few.
Like
yeah, I mean it varies. I think the main one that I think is to decide like way beforehand that you're going to do it. So it's not something where I think it's a good idea to decide on the spot to do it. Like I usually decide either the day before or at least like early in the day. Right, tonight I'm going to do DMT, and then I kind of commit to it then. And then usually as I'm coming up to it, I feel like the anxiety coming in, like, oh God, I don't really want to do this. Like, how can I get out of doing this? And it's like, I kind of just say, no, you committed to this. You know, you know that you're going to enjoy this experience. Just sort of, you know, calm your mind. Just you know, it's kind of like what the guy was saying earlier. You just got to, you know, take the ticket, you know, go for the ride, and you know that what's on the other side of that experience is what you wanted to do, because you've already kind of agreed to it the day before. It's like, you know, you want to do this. And a lot of it, what I find with myself as well, is just kind of things like posture and breathing. I just make sure that, you know, it sounds a bit sort of hippie and woo, but I make sure that I'm standing up straight, that I'm breathing. It's like, okay, just clear my mind, know what I want to do. This is not, you know, I know that I want to do this. And I kind of, you just find that sort of moment of peace to be able to sort of go for it. And if I can't find that moment of peace, then I won't go for it. I don't sort of make myself do it. I don't sort of like bully myself into it. But usually
you can't have background anxieties.
Yeah, I
like
think that's
stuff happening in your life, like added anxieties.
Yeah, and you know, particularly, and you know, there's been times when I've done it where I've had things like headaches and stuff, and I thought, oh, I'll just do it anyway, and that's always a bad idea. Just basically, it's look after yourself. Just be in touch with yourself and look after yourself and think, okay, you know, is it? Do I want to do this? Yes, I know I want to do this. Okay, well, am I? You know, am I entitled to this? Is my right to have this experience? I know I want to have this experience of like divine communion, or like, you know, this awesome experience of you know, extraordinary, just peak human experiences. Then, you know, it's again, you just sort of have to sort of find that sort of moment of peace and go for it.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the very simple things work of just controlling your breath, just doing a bit of meditation, and just find that sort of peace, place of calm within yourself, and then go for it.
Yeah, because I feel like I haven't been really doing the best in my life. Like I could do a lot better and be more motivated. And every time I do it, I feel like it puts my brain kind of in the right place. Mm-hmm. Like it gets my brain, it gets me thinking like how I need to be.
Yeah, that's the way I think of it. It's like a reset my brain kind of thing. It's when I feel all the bullshit, which I start recognizing of like the stuff that's getting in the way of me being a good husband, being a good father, being myself, like all this like, oh shit from work, I'm stressed out, the train was late, all this kind of nonsense. It's like, it's just bullshit. It doesn't matter. Just what matters is being in touch with yourself, being in touch with the people that you love the most, living your life the way you want it to be. And that's one of the reasons I love psychedelics. They kick my ass. They kick my ass. They slap me up. Like, what the fuck are you thinking about? Why are you stressing out over this fucking nonsense? Just, dude, this is awesome. Your life is awesome. This experience of being a human being is awesome. You can go and hold somebody's hand and walk in the park, and it's fucking awesome. You can watch the sunset. It's awesome. Fucking get over yourself. And that's what it does to me. It's like, Jesus Christ, there's so much to be grateful for, and I'm so grateful, and yeah, like I said, that's what these experiences do for me. They slap me out of my own bullshit, and I'm so grateful for it because I need it. You still there, mate? Or have I lost you? Oh, I think I've lost him. Hopefully you got the message. Okay, I think I'll do one more caller, and that is my old mate, Hyperspace Holidays. Hyperspace, you there, mate?
Yeah, right here. How are things going, Rob?
It's going good, dude. How's you?
Not too bad. Can't complain. So I heard you were a bit on a DMT roll these days.
Yeah. Well, just experimenting, mate. Just like I said, just playing with my own consciousness, playing with the models of reality.
That's the best kind of play, I guess. Did you get to try the extract?
I've still not yet, mate. No, like I explained last time, I want, obviously, because doing the extract is like a bigger deal, it's a longer time. And because I've had the things going on with Rachel and her injuries and my son and his injuries, so I've really been having to sort of play like the caregiver for the last couple of weeks since I got it. Right. So I am planning to do it before Christmas. So I'm hoping it's going to become part of this kind of DMT trial thing I'm doing. And now that Rachel's feeling a bit better, I think because I'd like her to be a sitter for me when I do it. Because I know what I'm like on ayahuasca, and I imagine I'll be something similar there where I'll need a bit of help.
But actually, the best part about this is that you can regulate it, because it doesn't need to be a huge experience if you just take a little bit under your tongue. Mm-hmm. It's gonna enhance the low dose of DMT, what you were saying you were taking. It's just gonna enhance it, but it's not gonna be anything overwhelming. If you take a lot more, then you're going, for a more serious trip. Well,
I must admit, to be honest, I am, when I do that, I am probably going to go for a pretty serious trip. I want to really sort of explore with it. Because the other thing with doing that, with the MAOI, you have to then sort of plan around it a bit in terms of, what diets and sort of any other sort of medications and stuff that you're taking. So it does take a bit of planning. It's not something I could just do like cavalierly. So it would probably be something where I'd have to make time at a weekend, make sure the kids are out the way and stuff like that, and like I say, have Rachel there to help me through it. But I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I've been trying to do this MAOI and DMT thing since like the beginning of the year. I put like a video out on it, and it's just eluded me up till now. And then now I finally got this MAOI extract, and then all this shit happens with Rachel getting injured and my son breaking his arm and stuff. So I don't know. Maybe the universe is trying to stall me until it's the right time. I don't know.
It is what it is. No need to hit your head against the wall for it. Whenever it's the right time, it is the right time.
Yeah, man. As soon as I've done it, mate, you'll know about it. I'll ping you a message, and I'm sure I'll be making a video about it as soon as I've done it.
Hey, awesome. If you want to text me while you're doing it, it's perfectly okay with me. It's gonna be lots of fun.
Well, if I send you a text message, it's just full of like fucking gibberish, you'll know I'm on it.
Right. The other day, remember in the first show, I think one of the first shows you did, I was telling you I haven't tried Ayahuasca yet. Mm-hmm. I did it the other day, yesterday, the day before.
And how was that?
It was absolutely awesome. It was probably the best experience I've had so far.
Awesome, mate. Awesome.
I did 200 milligrams of the extract. Mm-hmm. I did orally, and then 45 minutes I did 200 milligrams free base.
Well, so that's quite a big amount to start with. Then did you just do the 200 in one go?
Yeah, everything in. So the 200 MAOI in one go, and then 200 DMT in another go 45 minutes later, and it seemed to do the trick.
Yeah, I should imagine so. Yeah, that should definitely do the trick.
Because I guess when you do it orally, you need a bit more. I was reading some reports where people were saying that they took a little bit less, and they always felt like the trip was good, but they could always have taken a little bit more. So I just decided to just go for it.
Yeah, I've done it a few times. I think the first time I did it, it was like 100 milligrams, and that was light. I mean, it was happening, but it was light, and so I ended up working up to 200. And yeah, I find 200 be the sort of sweet spot, but I've heard other people say that that's too much. So I think the best way to do it is just to sort of make up capsules of like 50 milligrams and then just do them until you get to the place where you want to be. Because I've heard some people say like 100 is like a good amount for them, but for me 100 was very light as an experience.
Yeah, the same. I already tried once 100, and literally nothing happened, nothing whatsoever. And what you're saying about the capsules, I think this is what I'm going to try next time. I'm probably going to do, again, 200 MAOI, 200 DMT, like around an hour later. And I noticed that it took around half an hour for the DMT to kick in.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, playing kind of like a Swiss researcher on a DMT trial, to dose it like after those initial 200, 15 minutes after, I'm going to take another 50, and then 15 minutes after this, another 50. And I want to see if the experience is going to, stay longer.
Yeah, well, I should imagine it will do, because I mean, certainly when I've done ayahuasca in Peru, they will serve repeated glasses of ayahuasca. So you drink one at the beginning, which is, it's pretty much the same. You're drinking your MAOI, you're drinking your DMT, and then after a couple of hours, they'll say, does anybody want another cup? And you can get back and drink some more ayahuasca, and you'll just go straight back into it. And in some places, they even have like third cup, fourth cup sort of thing. So yeah, you can just keep on going, you keep on dosing and go right back into that experience.
Because it was like 200, it was a longer trip. It was more visionary. It was probably the best thing I've seen so far. But again, it was still a bit short. It was not. I wish I would have stayed even longer there.
How long did it last for?
Probably the whole thing was like an hour, but the come up was half an hour, and then the come down was maybe half an hour. The experience itself was maybe 10 minutes, which compared to just DMT is not quite a lot.
Yeah.
But still, I wish it lasted longer. But when you're doing the ayahuasca, are you really able to drink another cup after that initial?
It varies. Like, I mean, ayahuasca tastes horrible. Drinking a second cup is always a challenge, because by that point your stomach is already kind of feeling very like bleh. So when you drink like a lot of times, I've drank second cups and it's just almost like been sick in my own mouth, or like I had to spit it out straight away. It's really difficult. But my kind of mentality when I go drinking ayahuasca is like I came for something. I came for an experience, and I want to. I've got a certain depth of experience that I want. I came all the way around the world to do this. So yeah, I mean, it's like it's medicine. I drink it. It's like drinking medicine when you're a kid. It doesn't taste nice, but I know I want. I know what I want. Just do it. And it's always a struggle to drink the second cup. But if that's what, sometimes you need it. Sometimes you don't need it at all. Sometimes I've drank one cup and I've just been fucking done. Like, that's me done. For the idea of a second cup would just be ridiculous. But sometimes, you just want to go that little bit deeper, or just like you said, sometimes you can have it and come up very quickly and have a huge peak, and then it drops off within 10 minutes. And you're like, oh, okay, and then it's, in that case, I'll go and get another cup.
And do you usually go for maybe like 2 cups when you start, or you always do one and then you see how it goes?
I normally, there was one time where I drank 2 cups right at the beginning, and that was a mistake because I went absolutely nuts. Most times I just drink 1 cup, but you have to find out how strong it is. This is one of the things with ayahuasca, and this is where farm ayahuasca has an advantage. With farm ayahuasca, you can know pretty much exactly how much, at what dose you are getting. With ayahuasca, even going to the same retreat center and the same shaman, one batch is completely different to another batch. So you're sort of, you have to drink the first cup on the first night, work out how strong it is, and then for the rest of the nights, you have to base it off that. So it could be, there's been retreats where I've gone and where I've drank 1 cup, and it's like, I could drink a bit more. There's been retreats where I've gone on where I've drank half a cup and been just incredibly off my tits, just like much more than the other full cup. So it varies a lot, and you just have to kind of like feel it out on the first night. But yeah, I normally start with just like, just give me 1 cup of it and I'll work it out from that.
Sorry, and you... Wait, I forgot. My brain just completely froze. I wanted to ask you something, but... and the ayahuasca, how... If you compare it to DMT, like this super bright, colorful flash, do you always get there? Or do you need to drink extra to get to the exact same DMT space?
No. It varies, and a lot of it is kind of like, I think there's a huge element of like setting in this thing. I've had ayahuasca experiences which I talked about this in some of my recent videos from Peru, where it was absolutely the DMT space. It was bright, it was colourful, it was cartoonish. I recognise this instantly as being DMT, even though I was in a dark room in the jungle. I was in like cartoon, hyperdimensional, crazy world. But then how long did it last? That one lasted. It's hard to say because I would say a long time, but you've got no concept of time really at that. It was a typical ayahuasca ceremony lasts something anywhere between like sort of, I'd say about 4 hours on average. I would say that part of the experience, it felt like about half of it. So it was maybe like 2 hours. I was really, really gone. And then the other 2 hours I was kind of like coming out of it. So I've had experiences where it's basically just been like kind of liquid DMT, but I've also had experiences where it's had a much different characteristic to it, where it didn't feel like bright and cartoony, but we felt very, very dark and churning and bright, like introspective and sort of organic and lots very snaky, serpenty stuff. So it can be, it's a real, I guess it's just whatever's going on with you at the time, or it can be a real mixed bag. But there's something else too with ayahuasca as well, which I don't get from ayahuasca, which is this. I don't know how to describe it without sounding too sort of hippie, but there is this feeling of healing, of medicine. Like it just comes like it just seems obvious at the time, like, oh yeah, this is healing. This is you feel it like working on you in a way where it's not just psychedelic. It feels like something physical is working on you and it's helping you somehow. I realize that sounds like absolute gibberish, but it's literally just how it feels. So for me there is a qualitative difference between ayahuasca and farmahuasca, and I love them both. But this is why I think ayahuasca is worth experiencing as its own thing.
I'm planning to do it. I'm gonna get myself there one of those days, but until then it's just from ayahuasca and I guess some boiled chacruna leaves with Syrian rue extract, which I still haven't felt this, what you're describing, these healing properties, but plenty of people out there describe ayahuasca as healing.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, it might not just be the active ingredients. You gotta remember the setting is a huge part of this, and you are in this kind of this place with all this kind of all this chanting and all these songs, and you yourself are in a kind of a mindset. So there is, a lot of that could just be purely like psychological stuff that's going on that makes it feel like that. But it does feel like that. Whether it's actually true or not is a completely different thing. But it feels like it, and you do feel better for it. You feel healed. I mean, It's pretty remarkable. So yeah, I mean, I'd say just if you get the opportunity, check it out, mate.
Oh, definitely, because just based on your videos, I can see that it is something different than what I've experienced so far, just with the pure substance, just with pure DMT or pure MAOI. I see, but that ayahuasca is different. I guess the closest I've come are those chacruna leaves. I did throw up. It did last 4 hours. It was pretty awesome, but the imagery never got really that bright as a smoked DMT flash. Yeah,
it can. Trust me, it can get there. It doesn't always get there, but it definitely can do.
I've heard this, but that's my other question. How long does this flash last, and if it's worth all the throwing up?
Yeah, I mean, it's like I say, it can last a long time, and it even goes. I would say it goes kind of beyond the normal DMT experience. The one that I talked about in the recent sort of video I did, where I was talking about this amazing night I had in the jungle. So that kind of went into the kind of like the DMT experience, a very cartoony experience, but then it went beyond it into like this kind of like God realm of like just pure consciousness. That was something which is like even way beyond what I've had on vaped DMT. And I've had some fucking very, very deep experience on DMT, but this really blew my mind. And the fact that it went on so long, it just felt like something else. So I mean, you definitely you can have these big, like, what I would say is like, even like, in fact that's where the name of this stream came from, because what I described in that trip report was something that was beyond the breakthrough. This was like, if there is, there's DMT, there's the DMT breakthrough with ayahuasca, then I felt like I got to something beyond that, beyond the breakthrough. It was fucking mental. It was, and I've only had that experience on ayahuasca, and I've done, DMT to death, 5-MeO DMT to death, all these things, but that experience, I'd never had anything like it, and it was. I don't know whether it's something that's exclusive to ayahuasca, but I don't know. But it's there to be had. I'll put it that way. There is something there to be had. If what you're looking for is like the deepest experiences of consciousness, then it's there.
Oh, that's for sure. I watched your videos, and I watched that particular video, and you saying that it is beyond anything you've experienced really grabbed my attention, and now this is like my new benchmark for how far it can go.
I mean, me too.
Because with this stuff, you really don't know how deep it goes, and apart from your own experience, how far you've gone, the only other thing is somebody else to tell you if they've gone anywhere further. So now my goal is to get to that place where you got,
Well, I think the thing with it is, it's like with anything in our sort of human experience, there's always something further. There's, because we're growing as people, we're experiencing new stuff as people. Each experience that we have opens us up to new experiences and lets us appreciate things in different ways. So I don't think it's just necessarily a case of, take this particular substance or take this amount of this substance. I think it's just part of this sort of ongoing journey of this. It's a kind of a journey to explore yourself, really, and you'll get there if you just go down this path, and things are going to happen. And I wouldn't necessarily even try and rush it and say, okay, well, this time I'm going to try and do 400 milligrams of DMT. I don't think that's necessarily a thing. I just think just keep going, and as each experience unlocks new experiences behind that. So, and that's kind of one of the reasons why I say, it's worth going, experiencing these cultures. It's not just about, taking the drugs or doing that. It's about growing yourself, experiencing your cultures, taking yourself out of your comfort zone, just trying new things. And it all that stacks up inside yourself to create new possibilities for you to experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I even read an article from the guy who first synthesized it, or the guy who first popularized it, who's been in jail for decades now. He was saying about exactly the same thing what you're saying, that DMT is meant to be experienced at different stages in your life, when your consciousness has changed, when you're in a different mental state, when you've grown. And that's it's not even dose dependent that much, because I've had experiences, where I'll do it like several times in a day and try to go deeper and deeper, and probably the last time is like completely overwhelming, and you just end up in a blank void where there's nothing, and then you know that you just took too much and there's like nothing useful about that.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of time, and this is what I'm kind of discovering at the moment, some of these smaller doses can be very insightful, because you can see how it's working on yourself a lot more than you can when you're just completely gone for the breakthrough. When you have like a breakthrough, then it's amazing, but it's just happening to you. You don't really have time to process. But when we do some of these smaller doses, it's like, oh, okay, this is what it's doing to me. I see this, I see you, sneaky DMT. I know what you're up to. And it's cool. It's cool to be able to watch your own consciousness change in that way. But for sure, what you were just saying before about it being in the right point in your life, I don't think I would have been as receptive to some of these experiences. Like if I'd have done DMT when I was 20, I don't think I would have approached it in the same way as I do now. I think I would have, probably abused it quite a bit, as I did with a lot of substances when I was younger. And I probably wouldn't have had the same kind of relationship with it. Maybe I would have. Maybe it would have snapped me out of it and put me on the right path a bit sooner. But you don't know. And I think, for me, the point in my life where I did come to these things, I felt, this was the right time. It's a time when I'd gotten a lot of other things out of the way. So I think that's right. These things will come to you at different points in your life, and they will mean different things at different points in your life. And I think they can grow with us throughout our life. And I don't necessarily see a point where I'm going to, stop doing DMT. I think I hope I'm still doing it as a pensioner, like just rocking out with my feet up, in my slippers.
Yeah, that's what I've told my girlfriend. If I'm dying at some point, you just need to get all of our stock of DMT inside of me somehow.
Let's go out with a bang.
Yeah. And that's how it should be done. Just like Aldous Huxley, I think.
I'm with you.
He got injected with mescaline. His wife did it for him. Do you know about that?
What was that? Sorry, mate.
No, saying I don't know if you've heard of Aldous Huxley. Obviously.
Oh, Aldous Huxley, yeah.
Perception. So when he was dying, his wife injected him with mescaline.
No way! No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's what happened. That's how he went out.
I mean, I know he was very big on mescaline, and mescaline's a very interesting substance. I'm kind of looking forward to doing. Probably going to do another San Pedro retreat in 2022 with Rachel. So that's I'd say mescaline's a really cool thing, but I think if I was on my deathbed, I think DMT would definitely be the way to go. Yeah,
we cannot just count on whatever we have in our brains. We don't, like, with our experiences. I don't know if it's gonna do the job properly.
Yeah, well, we could. I've got plenty on hand. Like I said, I'll make sure I go out with a bang.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, man. Awesome talking to you again. We can leave time for somebody else to talk as well.
Awesome. All right, mate. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Yeah, talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Okie dokie. I think that's been around everyone. Oh, I see just Ninja's got his hand up again. I'll just do last call. I'll do it with Ninja. Ninja, you there, mate? Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hello. Okay, good. Thanks for having me on twice.
It's a pleasure, mate.
Yeah, maybe I'm the last caller. We'll wrap it up. Yeah, everyone was so good. Everyone's talking about what it's like to face the fears of DMT, and then when you finally get through it, and then you do it, and then you don't have to overdo it. You can just, work it out, like you were saying, go step by step. I like that because, myself, as much of a ninja as I am, dude, facing that fear, it happens to me every time too. So, I mean,
me too, mate.
Yeah, no matter if you're Hercules, everyone has to face that, whatever it is, that fear, or it's probably just facing whatever it is that you said it's in yourself. You know, you're going to face your inner demons.
Well, I think there's more to that. The way I kind of think of it is that, and it kind of highlights the seriousness of what's going on with these substances, because really, you know, what's happening is you are completely changing your sense of reality. You are basically saying, like, what you are used to, what you understand in the real world, you are going to replace that with something else. And I think it is completely natural for your brain and your ego to just rebel against that. It's like, what? No, don't do this. Don't rock the boat. You know, it's literally like, what? You standing up rocking the boat. Don't do it. We spent a lot of time to fucking get this all working. Don't fuck it up. And then, but it's like, yeah, but sometimes, you know, it's kind of like, sometimes you have to try these things. It's like, it's, you know, at some point, some guy was, you know, on a piece of wood in the ocean, and it's like, okay, I'm lying on a piece of wood and I'm paddling, this works. And it's like, no, actually, I'm going to stand on this thing. I'm going to stand on it and fucking surf like a boss. And like, you can imagine his brain thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Sit down. But you do it, and then something awesome happens, and it's like, well, I've just invented surfing. You know,
awesome happens.
Yeah.
Something awesome happens.
So you got to push it. You got. I mean, I don't need to tell you this, Ninja. You know, you're pushing yourself all the time. But this is the thing. You got to like challenge yourself and push yourself, and it is scary, and it should be scary. But that doesn't mean it's not worth doing.
Not worth doing. You nailed it, man. I love your words, man. It is scary, but it's not. It should be scary, and it's not worth doing.
Exactly.
Dude, you nailed it. You're so amazing.
Cheers, Ninja.
Cheers. Thank you for having me on twice.
It's a pleasure, dude. Okay, and with
I'm burning incense. I'm gonna have my sacred moment, and then just blessings on y'all. Thank you. Love you guys.
Cheers, Ninja. And yeah, and with that, I think I'll wrap it up. And cheers to everyone who's joined us tonight. It's always, you know, I love doing this. I love getting this chance to talk to all you guys, and I'm so grateful that you all take the time to come in and share your stories and sort of, you know, be part of this community. It's really awesome. So big shout out to all you guys. As I mentioned, I'm going to do one more of these before Christmas, so not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that, and then I'll take a break over Christmas and New Year. And then we'll come back and we'll start the 2022 season of Beyond the Breakthrough. In the meantime, you know, just guys, if you want to reach out to me, you can do so on Discord or on the subreddit, or just leave a comment in one of the videos. And yeah, I'll do it there. I'll just have a quick look through the comments on YouTube to see if there's any questions that anybody asked. Let's have a quick look. I'm just scanning through. Someone was saying, no way Fortnite Ninja on Rob's channel. No, it's a different Ninja. I don't think it's a Fortnite Ninja. Okay, I don't think there's anything else that needs answering. Cool. Okay, well, on that note, then I shall wrap this all up. Guys, awesome. Thank you, and I will catch you next time.